Hey boys and girls, welcome to Art Recycle with Mrs. Hollmeyer. Today we are going to draw some ornamental corn. So what I'm going to teach you today is how to draw a still life picture of it. Still life means you're taking obviously an object that doesn't move, and typically it's something that we lay on the table and we study it very carefully to be able to draw it on our paper. And today you're going to see me as I draw this. I'm going to be studying the size of the kernels, the colors of the kernels, and maybe even some texture in the husk to be able to get my drawing to look more realistic. Today I just do this drawing with crayons, so I kind of pick some colors that I see here in my ornamental corn, and then I do my drawing with a Sharpie. You may want to draw with pencil first and then Sharpie at second, and then go over it with crayons. But typically though, because this one has a lot of little ovals in it, I just have my second graders draw right off the bat with their Sharpie marker first, and they do pretty good. All right, so let's get started. All right, boys and girls, so here we go, starting to draw our ornamental Thanksgiving corn. You're gonna start with your white sheet of paper, and again, I try to have my students mark the middle. So what I have them do is I take the top, I fold it down to meet the bottom, and I fold. Then I open it back up, and that crease marks the middle. So looking at corn, the kernels get bigger at the top and they get smaller as they go to the bottom. They're also kind of in these rows and columns that are kind of perfectly organized. They're a little bit more random at the top, but as they go down, they're pretty good rows. So I typically have my kids start off with this one with a Sharpie. I don't let them use pencil first. And it really kind of helps them concentrate when they're studying how the corn kind of goes down. So I'm gonna start right under the fold, and I tell kids to take their Sharpie, and right in the center, they make me one horizontal oval like this, okay? Then as I move out, I tell the kids that they wanna draw two ovals on each side of this one, but you want them to touch and you want them to be about the same size. So they take their Sharpie and they kind of go around again, and then around again, making sure they're touching, and then two on the other side, one here, and one here. All right, so now the hard part is, you know, kids draw down. It's slowly getting this to be narrower. So what I'm going to do is for a little while, I'm gonna keep this the same, and I'm gonna keep drawing ovals, but this time they have to touch up and down, and they also have to touch side by side. And I'm gonna stay with 5 for about maybe 4 rows. Now you can see what my brain is unconsciously doing there. Even though I didn't intend to do this, you can tell that this is starting to come in, which means those ovals are getting a little bit smaller as I'm going down. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to skip to 4. So I'm gonna go 1 here. Notice I moved it a little bit over, but so far I'm kind of trying to keep those kernels still the same size. And I'm gonna do about maybe 4 rows again. That one's starting to look a little bit more circular. All right, and now that I've done 4 rows of 4, now of course I'm gonna go to 3. So I'm gonna move over a little bit, still keeping the ovals about the same size. And I'm doing 4 rows again. And that looks kind of weird there, right? There's a gap there. Don't worry, there's a way to fix that at the end. All right, now I'm kind of getting to the bottom, right? So now I'm actually gonna switch to 2. I can try to make 3 a little bit smaller, like this, or now I can go to 2. And as I go down, these 2 are gonna still be touching. They're gonna get littler and littler and littler and littler until I end with 1. And there we go. So the next step is if you have gaps, like I had a gap right here, I am just gonna fill that in kind of with a smaller circle or a smaller oval like that if I want to, and that just kind of blends in with the rest of the corn. If you were drawing and your corn kernels don't touch all the way sometimes, just to add another oval there, right? So now I'm gonna take my Sharpie, and one thing that makes this look really cool is that there are shadows in between the kernels. So where these diamond shapes are between the ovals, I'm gonna color that in with my Sharpie marker. There we go. And ooh, those really pop now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the husk of my corn. So that's this part. And it's kind of these leaves that overlap, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start all the way on the left side of my corn, and I'm going to make a wavy line that kind of goes up to this upper corner. And then I'm going to come down, but when I come down, I'm not going to come down where I started. I'm going to come down a little bit over to the right. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start at the left side here, touch up, make a wavy line that goes all the way up to kind of that corner, come down and make that wavy line, come down and move over a little bit, kind of right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some leaves in between these that look like they're overlapping, but I'm not going to start back down here. I'm actually going to start up here. I'm going to touch way up here. I'm going to make a wavy line come up, and then it's going to come down and it's going to kind of land in the middle there. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come up, make a wavy line that comes up like that. And then I'm going to make a wavy line that comes down. And instead of trying to go down here, I'm going to go until I touch this one and stop. And then it kind of looks like 2 and 2 on each side. So if you want to add one more in the middle, you would touch up here, make a wavy line up, and then come down. And it would kind of end by touching that one on that side. And husks have these lines that kind of go up in them, right, like this. So I'm going to add a couple more wavy lines that just kind of move up the husk like that to add some texture to these. Ooh, that looks really realistic now. I love it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start coloring with my crayons. And I'm trying to pick crayon colors that I see inside my ornamental corn. So obviously I see yellow, I see some purple, I see browns, reds, maybe even some oranges. In some types of ornamental corn, I can even see some grays. So here's what's really tempting for young kids. They want to color this in huge chunks, and I really stress to them to try to not do that. So if you're trying to make it look as realistic as you can, you want to kind of hop around. So the color that I see a lot is yellow and the purple. So I'm just going to take and moving my hand in a circular motion, I'm just going to jump around randomly to different corn kernels and color them all the way in. Sweet. Because I kind of jumped around like that, you can tell this looks really realistic now. It looks really nice. All right, so now for the husk part, I'm going to combine what I see as different types of browns and yellows. And in this part, I just kind of tell the kids, well, try overlapping the colors and blending them. However, in mine, I do see a little bit more brown up here at the top. There we go, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed this lesson on drawing ornamental corn for Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time on Art Recycled.